Hey folks, I'm Chris, and I'm your Commander Mechanic. Here on the channel, we take viewer-submitted decks and give them a tune up. Let's take a look at what deck is in the workshop today. All advice given in this video is advice only. Always play Commander your way. This format is, above all else, about having fun. Today's deck is submitted by viewer BennyFrayne, who has given us their casual deck led by Stonebrow, Krosan Hero. They write, "Here's my fun deck, all about slamming creatures into my opponent. It's tribal, but trample tribal. I like turning creatures sideways, but I run out of cards in hand or end up stuck with big creatures I can't cast. My group is super casual, so no infinite combos, and try to keep the budget low. Stonebrow is an out there commander that definitely isn't seen often. Kudos on the creativity. Stonebrow is a 5-mana Gruul, red and green, colored commander. As a 4/4 with Trample, he grants himself and any other attacking creature with Trample +2/+2 until end of turn. Note that this bonus is only to attacking creatures, so your creatures won't have this bonus on other players' turns or in your pre-combat main phase. However, any attackers with Trample will keep this boost until the end of your turn. Let's take advantage of that. Your current mana curve is all over the place. You have a lot of 1 casting cost spells, and the majority of your deck is 3 casting cost. But then you've got some expensive stuff, ranging from 5 mana to 8 mana. The real issue is that you're lacking mana ramp, which is why you're seeing that you get big creatures stuck in your hand. You've only got 2 artifacts that make mana and nothing else. You're in green, so you should be leaning into the color's strengths. Coupled with a lack of card draw, the other issue you mentioned, you're stuck crossing your fingers you draw the land you need to cast spells. Another concern I can see is that you're taking the route of all of your creatures innately having Trample. This is leading to some less than stellar choices in creatures like Defiant Elf, Charging Badger, and Almighty Brushwag. They might be fun, but it's tough to say they're good. It would serve much better to use base creatures that are of a higher quality and grant them Trample through other means. This way we can cross off multiple improvements at the same time. We can see that there's a bit of unnecessary overlap in your deck. Your creatures all have Trample, but you've got cards that give all creatures Trample as well. Let's lean more towards giving all creatures Trample with Archetype of Aggression, Primal Rage, or Brawn, and less on subpar creatures that have Trample to begin with. A must-have here is the new Proud Wildbonder from Ikoria, who gives all your trampling creatures Super Trample, and Quartzwood Crasher, who lets your trampling creatures help add to your ranks. Let's cut creatures that are below the curve. That is, any creature you wouldn't want to be attacking with if you didn't have Stonebrow out because they have low base power or toughness. In this category, we'll cut Llanowar Elite, Bull Aurochs, and Classic Aurochs, as well as Conifer Worm, Gorilla Berserkers, and Flowstone Sculpture, with a few others. Now, let's add in some mana ramp in the form of mana dorks. A Llanowar Elves becomes a better Defiant Elf if you give all of your creatures Trample. We'll also add in Elvish Mystic and Arbor Elf for these same reasons. These will allow you to get your higher casting cost creatures faster and will serve as solid attacking bodies once everything is granted Trample. Let's make sure you have a few more ways to give everything Trample as well. We mentioned Brawn, which wasn't in your existing list, but there's also Scar Guild Mage, which can give all of your creatures Trample for a red and a green. And there's Thunderfoot Baloth, a big boy, which, combined with Stonebrow, makes a 1/1 creature attack as a 5/5 trampler. The other thing we'll want to do is ensure that your creatures hit the ground swinging. After all, you want this deck to be all about attacking. Here's where a few utility enchantments come in. Rhythm of the Wild makes your creatures bigger or grants them haste, and makes all of your creature spells uncounterable. Fires of Yavimaya provides some of that same benefit. Hammer of Purphoros grants haste and, late game, can turn extra lands into attackers. Equipment like Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots are classics here, while also helping to prevent your important creatures. There's also Samut, Tyrant Smasher, which is a budget option that can give your creatures haste while also pumping them occasionally. Now, let's talk about the other things that the current deck is missing: card draw and interaction. If an opponent has a way of preventing you from attacking, you need to be able to deal with that. Cards like Manglehorn or Reclamation Sage or Acidic Slime are necessities. Acidic Slime has the benefit of having Death Touch as well, meaning that once it's granted Trample, it can destroy any creatures blocking it by assigning a single point of damage to each. For creature removal, we can rely on what are called fight spells, thanks to, of course, your creature's overall higher power. Prey Upon, Fall of the Hammer, and Pit Fight are all viable one-time use options to take out your opponent's creatures. We could also include a few board wipe style cards, as our creatures will typically have higher toughness. We'll want to deal damage to everything with Sweltering Suns or Starstorm, both of which cycle as well. And then there's Pyroclasm, which can destroy all of our opponent's puny creatures. But how do we recover from a board wipe? Our opponent just cast a Wrath of God. What do we do? Well, let's not panic. Let's look at ways to fill or refill our hand. Let's ensure you aren't running out of gas. Rishkar's Expertise and Return of the Wild Speaker all draw you cards for your beefy creatures, while Greater Good means that if you've got a creature that's going to die, it can, well, serve the greater good. With all of this in mind, I've put together my tune-up. We now have some mana ramp in the form of creatures and spells to help you towards some of your higher casting cost creatures. We've kept solid utility creatures that innately have Trample while reducing the mediocre ones, and ensure that we have plenty of ways to give all of your creatures Trample. We've also increased your card draw and interaction package to ensure you've got the ability to stop your opponents from stopping you, and to recover if you've got to move to plan B. If you're looking at upgrades, one of the first cards that you should consider is big old Hoof Daddy, Crater Hoof Behemoth. He's overkill with Stonebrow out, but can also ensure you don't need Stonebrow to win. Xenagos, God of Revels, is another potential addition to make sure your big guys get bigger and grants them haste. Heroic Intervention is also a great trick to protect your permanents, but also blanks most board wipes at the same time. As always, keep in mind that Commander is about having fun your way, and all of this is just advice. There is no right or wrong way to play EDH. If you want to submit a deck for a tune-up, you can email me at cmdrmechanic@gmail.com or find me on Twitter at cmdrmechanic. Or you can even leave a comment on this video. I'll read them all. Be sure to like this video and subscribe for more tune-ups. Until next time, good luck and have fun.